Yo, what's up everybody? It's your favorite country hood gardener, that fella T Speller, here today with another gardening video. So what I'm gonna be showing you guys today is the process that I actually use to prepare my plants for transplant out in the garden. So where I am right now, they've already germinated, they already got true leaves on them. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna actually start to give them a little bit of nourishment that they're actually gonna need to help strengthen them before I actually start trying to harden them off. So basically what I'm gonna be using a couple of different, just really one different product. So basically what I did, you're gonna go to any big box store and get them all-purpose fertilizer. Now what I have right here is just a cheap brand. It's called the Expert Gardener's Plant Food. And as you can see at the bottom, it's got chemical makeup of NP and K of 24, 8, and 16. Okay, so I know you guys already know this, but I gotta touch on it anyway for those that don't. The N represents the nitrogen. The nitrogen is for the foliage, okay? And then you got the potassium, or the phosphorus, I'm sorry. And the phosphorus is for the roots, okay? And then you got the K, and the K means the potassium. And the potassium actually helps with the absorption rate of the chemicals and the overall health of the plant. So as you can see, that's a 24, 8, and 16. Now, those nutrients are too high for what I'm trying to do right now because my plants are still real small. They're still pretty much just little fledglings, little fledgling plants that just have a few leaves. So what I have to do, I have to actually go in and I have to cut the amount of fertilizer that I put in it. So as I said before, you got 24, 8, and 6. That's 1 tablespoon per gallon, okay? So I think if my math stand correct, I think it's 3 teaspoons per tablespoon. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut it to where I get 1/3 of the fertilizer. Instead of giving me a 24, it'll give me a 8. And instead of the 8, it'll give me a 2.7 roughly. And then instead of the 16, it'll give me a 5. So what that'll do, that'll give me basically like an 835, which will probably be what I need for what I'm gonna be doing. Now, the other thing I wanna share with you is that I do not fertilize at this stage every time that I water. So if I fertilize this time and give them some nutrients that they need, then I probably won't fertilize again for another week and a half. And to be honest with you, at the stage that my plants are now, after I probably feed them this time, I might just feed them one more time, and then I'll be ready to upplant them until the next stage of their development. So what I'm gonna do right now, let me go get my cups, or let me go get my my plants, bring them in, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Okay guys, as you can see, for the purpose of this video, I have a towel that's actually laid down on my counter. That way, like I said earlier, clean as you go. I do what I do not to try to make huge messes. So what we got right here, we got different types of peppers, peppercini, banana, and Gimme nardellos. Right here, I have some of my cabbages, my red cabbage. I really can't, let me see, red acre cabbage, and there's another brand that I got. I can't even read that myself. I have to go back and take a look at it. Well, anyway, I got cabbages in this tray. And as you can see right here, I got red Russian kale, Swiss chard, kohlrabi, bok choy. So, and I got onions that are actually setting up back there in the back too. I got Texas Grand yellow onion and a red burgundy. Some of them didn't come up right, but hey, I realized what I've done. And like I stated earlier, I'm not a real big fan of these huge 72 cell trays because it's hard to manage. And when I plant them all in there, they germinated at different times. So I would make a suggestion that if you plan on using a large tray like this, make sure that you get something that's all gonna pretty much germinate at the same time. That would be my suggestion. For me, I won't use them again because I like the smaller 12 cell trays, and that'll be the one that I go with. All right. Okay guys, what I've done so far, I put some of the solution or the mixture inside of these containers. I filled them about 1/3 of the way up. Now, as you guys can see, I have them sitting out right now. And the other thing I wanted to show you was this, is that as your plants start to develop, the reason why I like these trays so much is that you can actually see the root systems that's actually being developed in the plants. Now, looking at this one, I'm getting ready to upplant these probably as early as Saturday because the roots are already established pretty good inside of there, and I don't want them to get too badly root bound. These right here are my peppers. Now, if you take a look at the of my cabbages, as you can see, the roots are starting to develop in it as well. So I want to make sure that I start to prepare and get these ready to get ready to upplant them into a larger container. Hold on one sec. I'm sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I had a little bit of an interruption, but like I was saying, as you can see, the cabbages are starting to get to the point to where they're going to need to be up potted as well. And like I said, once again, this is the other reason why I didn't want to go with this type of 32 cell is because as you can see, there's no way of being able to see the actual root systems. But looking at the size of these bok choy and kohlrabi and Swiss chard and red Russian kale and everything, they're going to be ready to upplant soon. All right, guys, I lowered the angle of the camera so that way you can kind of get an idea of what it is that I'm doing. Now, if you look at the bottom of these seedling trays, you can see that they have small holes right in the center of these trays. And what that allows is for the process called wicking. Now, the other day I showed you that whenever I put this seed starting mix inside of my containers, I pressed them down a little bit to make sure that it was a little bit compacted, not much, and then I filled them up the rest of the way. What happens is that now what I'm getting ready to do is called bottom watering. So basically, the solution that I mixed inside of the container, I'll be able to take the cell tray and I'll be able to set them inside of the actual container. And what happens is it'll wick the moisture from the bottom. Now, this serves two purposes. When you're actually able to wick the moisture from the bottom, what happens is that it absorbs from the bottom and it works its way up. That way it allows those roots to be able to actually search down for the water. If you pull the water on top, sometimes the water sit up top. If it gets old, it starts to mold. You'll start to see some of this stuff over here on the other side. Watering from the bottom, like I said, it makes those roots actually have to search a little bit, and actually it's a better process of how you water your plants, especially at this point of the process. So what I normally do, I'll just take these trays, set them down on the inside. You see it's floating, and then what'll happen is eventually, the actual tray is set down in there. You can see it's moving a little bit, it's floating, and then eventually it'll soak down in there. So that's the ratio that I use. Now I'm going to do this tray, set this over to this side. I got another tray. These right here, the peppers, same process. Set them down in there. Allow the plants to absorb the water, or the solution to absorb the water. And I'll set these over to the side. And then what I'll do, I'll slide Big Boy in the middle. Come here, big fella. Like I said, for you guys that have, larger gardens, I don't have a large garden. If you guys love this tray, by all means use it. I'm not here to tell anybody what they can and they can't do. I just know for the process and the size garden that I have, this right here is a little bit overkill. And I'm not a real big fan of this style of setup, but to each their own. Some love it, some don't. You just got to do what works best for you. So what I'll do now, I'll set these plants. Let me see. I'll set these plants in here on one side. Allow that to sit and start to absorb the moisture. And then I'll put my onions on the opposite side. Set them down in there. And I'll allow them to be able to wick the moisture from the bottom. Now, the other thing I want to share is that they don't like their feet to be kept wet. So the only thing that I do is that I allow it to sit inside of these containers for maybe 15 to 30 minutes. Anytime in between there is good. Just come back and just touch the surface of your mix. And if it's starting to absorb the moisture, then that's when you can empty the water out. And I'll show you that process in a minute. Okay guys, it's been roughly 15 minutes. Now what I'm getting ready to do right now is dump the excess water off of the plants and then take them and put them back upstairs and put them back up under the grow light. So, like I said, the 6-cell trays are pretty easy to manage. There wasn't that much water left, so I just dumped that out. Set it back inside the tray. Same thing here. Tray feels pretty good. I'm just going to dump the, slide it out, dump the excess water out in the sink. Slide them right back on the inside. Now, that was pretty easy to do. As you can see, well, it's going to be hard to tell, but you can tell whenever your plants are needing water, because what happens is the top of the seed start mix starts to look really dry, or it's hard to the touch. That's when you know that it's time to water. Normally what I do, I usually wait maybe every 2 to 3 days to check it. And I just, do the finger test, just test it to see if it's dry. If it's not dry, I'll give it another day or two. But roughly around 3 days is when I normally go in and add some water to them, or check them before I need to add water to them. I do know that if you have any type of brassicas or anything like that, they'll absorb a little bit more water. So that's just something that, you have to be mindful of. And if you pretty much are doing it inside your house, it'll be pretty easy to keep a check on them to make sure that everything that's that they're going to be all right or well watered. So yeah, now this is another reason why I don't like this larger tray. It's a little bit tougher to handle because you have so many cells. You have to, what I actually do, I'll take one side out and then I'll come back and then I'll kind of hold it in an angle to empty it by hold on to one end of it and then let the water drain out, and then I'll slide the other half of the tray back in. Like I said, once again, I'm not a big fan of the 72 cell. Some people like them. They might have some better ones now. So, you got to do whatever works best for you. But I'm going to go ahead and empty, this half out, and then I'm going to put it back. So, like I said, it's going to be wet at the bottom. So that's why I'm glad I got this towel here. I'm going to lift this half right here out that have the onions and stuff in it. Just going to shift that over to the side. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, keep my thumb on this edge, walk it over to the sink. Pull the excess water out, and that's pretty much it. Then I'll take and put this back on the inside. All right, guys. So that's pretty much what I do, or how I water my seedlings. There you go. So if you guys like it, hey, subscribe, make a comment. If there's anything that I can do better, comment if there's something that you learned or you like. Hey, don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with you leaving a comment. But like I said, as far as today, this is the last of it. It's that fella T Speller. Thank you for stopping in and checking me out. And I'll holler at you soon. Hey, I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of my setup. I just basically got, a couple of 6-foot tables. Bought them from outside, from in my garage, and bought them in. As you can see on one end of it, I got my heating pad, and I got items right now germinating. As you can see, I got my elaborate setup. Nah, baby, just a little bit of country hood engineering, a little bit of PVC, I got these lights from Harbor Freight. They wasn't nothing but maybe 20 bucks. You know, they wasn't real expensive. So I got 3 of them, so it came out to 60. So I might have maybe 80 bucks in my light setup, my grow light setup. As you can see, I got leeks on one end. I got peppers and brassicas, and I got, you know, other brassicas like kohlrabi, broccoli, and stuff like that. Even some onions that didn't come out right, but the reason why I don't think they did is because the germination time wasn't the same. But, you know, you live and you learn, you know. You make mistakes as you go. As you guys can see, I put little screws inside of my PVC so that way it'll hold up the grow lights. Right here I got little hooks, and as you can see, I use chain, string, whatever I can find. Nothing elaborate, but it does the job for me and it works well. So hey, like I said, just use a little bit of creativity sometimes. Keep some money in your pocket. Eventually you'll get it. All right guys, Country Hood, T Speller, I'm out.